Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Pause. I am your host, Rachel Chinoa J. Welcome to Wednesday, April 5th, the first day of Passover. Happy Passover to anyone who is actually celebrating. And I just thank you for actually being here. Before we get started on today's topic of affirmations, I just want to give you a little bit of information about Speak Initiative as always. Speak Initiative is a nonprofit organization that was started almost over a year ago now that is committed to reducing the stigma around mental health care and suicide in our communities. SPEAK stands for Suicide Prevention Through Empowerment, Action, and Kindness. And as always, you can reach out to us on all social media platforms to get more information. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube as well. This is airing live on YouTube as I speak, right? So if you need more information about Speak Initiative, if you know someone who may benefit from our services, or if you want to contribute in any way to Speak Initiative as far as our programming goes or some of the kindness events that we are doing, please feel free to reach out to us directly and we will definitely get back to you. Okay, so I know for the last couple of weeks, I talked about suffering in life. And then last week, we actually talked about things not being permanent, perfect, or personal, right? Those are some heavy thoughts to actually work through. Suffering is something that no one can actually avoid, but depending on how we go through it, it can actually affect your life in a major way, right? Sometimes we find ourselves wanting to fight against reality or the things that are actually happening to us instead of moving with the flow and finding our way in those valley moments, as you could say, right? So one of the tools that we can actually use during those times when we're stressed or struggling or doubting, right? Or just trying to find another way are affirmations. Now, an affirmation is basically an assertion that something exists or is true, right? It's the act of, or an instance of affirming something. But for our purposes, this terminology refers to the practice of positive thinking and self empowerment. And that can foster a belief that a positive mental attitude supported by affirmations will achieve success in anything. Last year, probably in about June or July, I spoke about the power of words. So we're back at that place, the power of words. Affirmations are basically the truths that you want to acknowledge about yourself so that you can actually start embodying those truths. They have the power to motivate you to act on certain things. They help you concentrate to achieve your goals in life. And they also give you power to change your negative thinking patterns and replace them with positive thinking patterns. And that can assist you to accessing a new belief system, a better way of thinking and addressing some of the things that may come up in your life, right? So, do you have affirmations that you use? I have a few affirmations that I actually like. They're very simple, but one is I am enough. There have been times when I used to question myself and wonder, was I enough for the situations that I have been in? And that was something I really would struggle with at times. So one of my affirmations every day, I say to myself, I am enough. There was a time when I first started using affirmations that I needed to actually write them down. And that's a great process as well. But I want to encourage you, even if you're writing down your affirmations and your goals, to speak them out loud as well. To hear yourself say, I am enough. To hear yourself say, I am whole, healed, and lacking nothing. You can say that if you've been in a space where you haven't felt like you were a whole person at times. There may be things that have been chipping away at you. You can reverse that and start saying to yourself, I am enough. I am whole, healed, and lacking nothing. There are thousands, millions of affirmations, because there's millions of words that we can actually use to start to begin to change the narrative that we're talking to ourselves in our heads about, or the narrative we're using on ourselves. I don't know if any of you have been in this space where of negative speak, but I used to be a person that was so hard on myself that the conversations that I would have with myself were not healthy. I was so um, pushing for perfection, which we know is not attainable. There's no such thing as perfect, but in our lives, we sometimes get caught up. We sometimes see these magnificent things that we want to attain, these goals that can say, I'm over here, I'm shining. You may not get me, but I'm here, I'm looking for you. And we attain to these things, but sometimes we don't believe that we can actually get to them. It's kind of like dreaming with your eyes wide open. You say, well, I'm not going to use lotto as an example. I was going to say, people say, you have to be in it to win it. I don't know about lotto because that's too random for me, but I know if I say I would like to own a house in 5 years, that's a statement that I put on myself, and I will actually begin to do the things, to do the actions that require me or will allow me to have what I want in the next 5 years. Now, that having a house is a goal. That's not an affirmation, but the affirmations that I use to get to that place of creating the healthy goals, or the kind of like structure to get to the things I need to own a house, to give myself permission to say, you know what, you're better than some of the things that you're doing. How about you save money and put it towards something that's better for you, because you do deserve this, right? An affirmation could be as simple as, I deserve happiness. I deserve peace of mind. I am great. I am wonderful. I am beautiful. All of these things that you can say to yourself that can actually change the way your mind actually works. That's the point of affirmations. They can actually change your thinking process to a way that can be more beneficial to you, that can um, help you progress in life, get to the next level of where you want to be, to expand your growth. Affirmations can help you do that. So I know that they're very simple statements, but you recite them to yourself and you focus on the positive ideas about yourself. I'm not sure why it's more natural for us to be able to remember and to recall most of the negative things that we've heard, or that we've experienced, or that we said about ourselves. But if we intentionally change that behavior, if we intentionally say, you know what, I am a great friend. I am supportive. I am loyal. I know the attributes of myself that I am proud of. So I hope that other people recognize them in me as well. And they can actually affirm me if that's how they feel. But we don't have to wait for someone else to affirm you. You can actually affirm yourself. So I challenge you, if you're not a person who regularly speaks life into yourself, or actually speaks out those affirmations, try it. It may feel uncomfortable at first. It may sound really corny. It may, you know, you're standing in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. And when I first started, I felt very weird. I'm not even going to lie. I felt very foreign to this practice. It didn't feel fair sometimes to tell myself that I was enough, or that I am beautiful, or that I deserve the best of everything that I am involved with, um, because it wasn't a daily practice. It wasn't something that I was used to doing. And the voices that I leaned into in myself were the voices of criticism. And that basically caused a delay. a delay in growth, a delay in healing, a delay in relationships, right? It didn't allow me to fully experience myself in certain situations because I was not seeing myself for the whole person that I am. So I adopted the practice of writing down affirmations, saying them out loud. Sometimes I add more to my list. They're very personal for each person, right? Because it's only about you. It's about what you know about yourself. And if these are things that you don't believe about yourself, still tell yourself, because eventually you will believe them. It's not that um, we need to brainwash ourselves or or kind of trick ourselves. But these affirmations happen to be truths. So we're not brainwashing or tricking ourselves. We're connecting ourselves and our minds and our realities to who we actually are. There was a point in my life where I thought if you said affirmations or if you gave yourself credit for things, that it was being conceited or being boastful. And I didn't know the difference between speaking life into yourself and acknowledging all of the wonderful things that a person is or you are, and just being a braggart. I'm not a braggart, never thought I was one, but I do understand the difference now between loving myself and just being boastful and needing attention, right? So I just encourage each and every one of you who may be listening, if you are not using affirmations, by all means, just try it. Try a few, see how they feel coming out of your mouth. See how it feels when you hear your own voice speaking life into yourself. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Do it for yourself. Of course, as I say these things to you each week, I say these things to myself. It's just a reminder to know that we have the power. We have everything that we need inside of us to achieve everything that we want to do in this life. It's just a matter of accessing it, tapping in, turning it on, and running with it. So that's my pause for today. I didn't want to be too long, but I hope that this share gives you, piques an interest in you. If you haven't used any affirmations, by all means, try some. It can just be something as simple as, I am good. And that can change maybe your perspective on a lot of things. I'm not going to go into an example, but one example I think definitely have is when children are told that they're bad kids, and they grow up hearing that word. And it's not until maybe someone comes along and disputes that. No, you're not a bad person. But imagine walking around as a child, a young adult, and even an adult for all of those years, having this narrative of, I'm a bad person, and not being able to fully access your life and live to your full potential because you have this incorrect belief about yourself, right? So take some time, recognize what is great in you, and speak to those things. Affirm yourself. Until next week, I look forward to talking to you then. Until then, take care. Be well.